of Bill Nowlin on July 23, 2004. Okay, we're talking about Clarence Bacaro. He was not rock. He was... You with me, Bill?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Consent that I gave you before still applies.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't get that far afield. I got yelled at by the university person.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a Joe Cormier, although that's a repackaging.
Right.
I don't know. It just seems to me that not just Rounder, but the industry wouldn't necessarily allow you to go put out. I say allow in an expansive term. You wouldn't survive too long if you did what you did in 1973.
We went back to the 70s
Uh-huh.
and said, okay, this is our release schedule for the next year,
Uh-huh.
and we put out precisely the same records,
Right.
or their modern day equivalent.
I understand.
I don't think we make it.
Yeah.
Because things, really have changed.
And this is getting beyond anybody's field, perhaps. I don't know if you think about these things as your attention turns to publishing, but I wonder if there's a room for that any longer. That's what I'm going to try and write about that. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. Could a battering ram and a mountain moving day get a record, unless they made it themselves? Is that how they'd have to do it nowadays?
Well, I'm not as familiar with the whole environment because we don't have these independent, Naird went out of business.
Right.
Or AFM.
Yes.
Called, and I don't have a sense. I don't really have as much a sense as I used to about what independent labels are putting out.
Right. Okay.
I could work at it.
Sure.
By scouring catalogs of distributors and stuff like that, but
right.
I don't.
Yeah, I understand.
I haven't. So until several years ago, I had the feeling that there were other labels that were, say, smaller, more adventurous in one way or another than us, that were picking up a lot of those projects.
Right.
That we're doing that we'd sort of gotten up to some kind of middle level type of thing.
Right.
Where somebody could say, oh, I couldn't get on a major label. Maybe I could get on Rounder. Oh,
sure.
I couldn't get on Rounder, so, I'll go here.
Right.
Not necessarily that there's a hierarchy of quality there, but just sort of the way that a lot of people might have thought about things. But I don't know if that's true. I mean, I guess Compass Records is still around and still doing stuff. Red House is still around.
Right.
I don't know how active even those labels are because I don't run into them.
Sure.
The way I used to. As far as I know, they're still all out there.
Right. They are. They
I
are.
don't really know how out there and how, if they're putting out kinds of records that maybe we once would have put out, or just putting out the same kind of records we're currently putting out.
Who's out there, if anybody? How do you, you're known as an old-timey label, you're known as a blues label, a Louisiana label. Who is making sure, if anyone, that you got your ear to the ground and are going to hear the person who may be the next old-timey star? I know there's only room for two of them. There's Dirk Powell and Bruce Molsky, and you've got them. There's the Southern Crow Medicine Show, which you don't have, which is making a lot of noise.
We looked at them.
You did?
I went to see them at one point at South by Southwest.
Old Crow Medicine Show, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like them too much, but I guess they've... I think I may have gotten them on a bad night from...
They tapped a nerve, people, because it's that carousing party-type show.
Yeah.
Yeah. But who's doing that? Who's, if anybody? How do you make sure that...
Of the 7 people in there, we try.
It's hard for me to see you and Marion, who are into other things.
Mostly Ken would be in the bluegrass and old-time area.
Right.
Because
Okay.
he goes to all the Folk Alliance and IBMA shows, and
Right.
he gets out to festivals and so forth.
Right.
Some people come to us, of course, needless to say.
Sure.
He gets out one way or another.
Right.
Whether it be Bruce Jackson's son sending us a tape of somebody he represents or whatever, that we've never met.
Right.
Will seek us out.
Right.
Thinking that we might be viable for this or that.
Right.
And I think we rely a lot on the word of mouth from people like Dirk Powell will tell us about somebody that he just saw. Or
Okay.
whatever, that type of thing. That's how Riders in the Sky we got because Charles Wolfe started talking
Okay.
about him.
Okay.
That was a few years ago, obviously.
All right. Well, with or rounder, how old are you? 59?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to retire. I think you're as old as George Pegram, by the way, when he recorded for you.
That's probably true.
I think you are. I think he was right around the same age as you are. You thought he was his old man, so.
Yeah, well, relatively speaking.
But you got your teeth, and.
Yeah. I didn't have to earn my living riding trains in North Carolina.
Right.
And Joe, and taking drinks that people would give me and falling off the back of the train or whatever he did. Anyhow.
Well, bearing in mind that Rounder probably had to be the personal passion of the people who started it. Red House has to be the personal passion of Bob Feldman for singer-songwriter. Arhoolie had to be Strachwitz's personal passion. Do you give any thought to, wither Rounder when you're just retired, let alone gone? Do you care, or is it?
Yeah, that sounds hesitant. I don't. Retiring is a concept that is a little beyond me.
Okay.
I don't see that ever happening. Someday I won't be around.
Yeah.
Almost happened last year when I had my brain hemorrhage, but
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I didn't know if you had. I was in the hospital for 23 days.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Most people die. I didn't.
Yeah. Okay.
As you can tell.
Yes. Well, good. I didn't know that at all.
Actually, I did die, but I'm just a replacement figure that's installed here. The consumer confidence.
Well, good for you. I had no idea.
Yeah, no, it was quite a thing. But most of the people that survive are seriously impaired. I escaped that too.
Okay.
So I'm still here, and Emmett still has a dad.
Mm-hmm.
Is unlikely to want to end up running Rounder Records someday himself.
Is not likely, is it?
Right.
So what happens to this?
I have no idea what happens eventually. Marion, I think, probably wouldn't mind if there was a way to get out, get some of the benefit from, financial benefit that would give her longer-term security. I don't think she'd mind taking advantage of that.
Sure, and
I think Ken thinks more than I do for whatever reason, even though he's probably the most immersed in Rounder day in, day out. I think he thinks more for some reason about retirement and pension and that type of stuff. It's just something I'm in denial about. I just always figured it'll work out okay. I could still drive a UPS truck if I had to.
Oh, come on.
Whatever.
I have to assume, and I know they're not owners per se. I don't know what your equity situation is. I don't care. I have to assume that John Verant, Paul Foley, Sherry Sands could never run Rounder Records as it had been. They didn't come from where you came.
Who knows? I couldn't even comment on that.
Okay. That's why I gave a prelude as saying all these labels are personal visions. I don't know that they get to be what they are.
But they might have John would have had his own personal vision.
All right, but it wouldn't be. It would not be Rounder Records. Right. It would not be. It might have the name Rounder Records.
My goal since our 25th anniversary had been to get to 50. And when it's 50, I'll be 75, I guess. And maybe then I'll be long dead, or in a enfeebled state, or who knows.
Everyone who knows that I'm doing this asks me something that you never tell me, and I tell them, why do you think they tell me that? They don't, but I'll ask it, and I don't expect do you talk about selling the company, or have you had discussions about selling the company?
Yeah, but not big ones.
Okay.
As I said, Marion probably wouldn't mind.
Sure.
I don't know, it's sort of almost my sole reason for existence. Not quite anymore.
Right.
I also know that in 6 years Emmett will be off to college and stuff, and he won't need me around the house anymore too. So,
right.
But I just, if we sold the company, if we did a Barry Post, so to speak.
Yeah.
When he did that, we certainly taled about it.
Sure.
We don't know exactly what he got, but our impression was he got a lot of money.
Millions of dollars.
Well, $10 million is
the
figure that we have in our mind is what he got.
Rounder would bring millions of dollars. You know that.
Yeah,
the only question is which millions, but millions.
Right. We'd bring at least $10 million.
Oh, yeah. I think it would bring double that.
Maybe 2 to 3 times that amount.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it would.
You really don't know. You have to have the willing buyer.
Sure. Right.
And then what would we do? We could probably structure a deal that would be senior advisors or whatever,
Right.
But I would kind of worry about the whole thing falling apart. Mo Ash obviously made his decision a really good one, I think.
Oh, sure.
As opposed to sticking stuff on the shelf at Rutgers.
Right.
The same kind of consideration might apply here at some point. I don't know what might happen. We're actively trying to build this thing that you might hardly have even heard of yet, called Rounder Archive.
No, I haven't. Tell me about that. No.
It'll start coming out more in the next 6 months or so, but basically we're trying to do something that, and we've got 50 or 60 albums already processed, to make available, kind of like Smithsonian has begun to do also, past albums that just are not commercially feasible to put out on CD.
I was going to ask you this question. What do you do with Clark Kessinger?
Well, he's one of them.
Okay, what do you do with it? Go ahead.
We're going through all that stuff, and we're digitizing the masters
to
just preserve them.
Okay.
If nothing else, but to preserve them in digital form,
as
opposed to running off another analog tape of them.
Sure.
A fresher one. And we're working to create virtual booklets, through PDF files that we can download to people. Our ultimate goal, only frustrated by our IS department, really, is to offer all the annotation for all the records we've ever done free on the website.
Okay.
So people could download there weren't many notes in the Clark Kessinger, but say some other album that had a lot of notes. They could download them, maybe a couple of samples, and hopefully get interested and then decide to buy the album from us. And then, at that point, they could buy the album in one of two ways. They could download the album, or they could get a custom-made one for them, which the printing part of it would be PDF files that, if they weren't able to print them for whatever reason, we could print them and mail them to them or something.
Now, is this just in the talking stage, or are things going to go online?
As I say, we've already got like 50 or 60 albums that have been digitized.
Right.
And we're just, at some point, we're going to announce the first release of 25 albums or so, but it's kind of, I don't understand what this sudden thing that popped up recently is. I think it's some kind of storage and presentation issue.
Okay, but this announcement is relatively imminent, as in the next year, or?
Yes.
Okay, that's okay.
It was supposed to have happened already, and they were supposed to be out this spring, but now I don't know if they're going to get out before January.
And are you doing you cherry picking the records?
Well, yeah, but the goal eventually will be to get them all out.
Sure.
To make everything available, but we'll do it in terms of a thoughtful process, not just numerical.
Right. Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's great.
We're starting with the 0 series.
So,
but then we said, well, we got to have a mix in here. We got to get some blues albums in there too.
Right.
And so forth. So eventually, and rather quickly, they will become more and more available. And things like the success of iTunes has made this seem like it could even pay off here. But we're also doing it partly from a legacy standpoint.
Sure.
Even if we lose money, we got to, we feel like we should preserve some of this material that otherwise will get lost.
Right.
One way or another. Some of it, we'll try to do it from our standpoint of, what we think is quality.
Right.
I don't want to say something uncomplimentary about a given album, but there's one album in my mind that always sort of pops up as a kind of an example of, geez, what did we do that album?
Okay.
You could probably come up with a few of your own. And that album will be further down the list.
Right.
When we get there. It's probably not even fair because it's actually kind of a pleasant album, but one I have in mind. But it will be in the last 10% of the ones we do.
Sure.
But it's we do think about that a lot. It's the whole A&R group, decided we're going to invest when we got into 2002 and we had a good year. Okay, now we can afford to spend some money on some other things, and one of them being simply preservation.
Okay.
And that makes Ken and me particularly happy because, we just always felt bad about, like, a Snuffy and Pappy album.
Right.
Or Clark Kessinger. I mean, the albums that we, really loved, we can't figure out a way to possibly sell them right now, but maybe this is a way.
Sure. I think it will. It's a great way.
And, if we can sell 100 of them somehow, and, we'll let county sales. We won't even tell Universal about them. We won't even tell IND about most of them, but we'll tell county sales about the ones that are in that area. And if they want to order 30 copies, wow, great.
Well, would there be anything to order? Oh, they would sell the custom. They would sell the custom. Custom CDs. Yeah.
They'll have a custom color.
I see.
Like a one-page fold-over booklet. And it'll tell people if you want to get the rest of the booklet, here's how you do it. that type of thing.
Right.
And we'll use the old original album cover art in
Sure.
But we're also going to put out new releases this way too, for stuff that hasn't come out before, that we think that we just would not put out through the current distribution system. But we've already identified 4 or 5 albums that are going to come out this way that will not go through the regular distribution system.
You mean new stuff or
brand new recordings?
Really, by brand new people or
Yep.
Really? Oh.
But stuff that doesn't cost us anything.
Is it still secret or?
We're not going to go into a studio. Well, 2 of Mark Wilson's most recent albums are being done that way.
Okay.
We'll probably sell 1,000 copies of each of them actually, because
Okay.
the artists will buy them and they'll get some distribution in Canada.
Right.
And so forth. But it's just and then we haven't finished this deal yet, but like the new Michael Hurley album that came out on an Irish label.
Okay.
They don't really have anybody to distribute in this country. They seem to be willing to let us do it on a no advance basis.
Basically as a digital?
Well, yeah, but
Or a custom.
not through mainstream distribution.
I see.
We'll press copies for people. We'll probably press 100 copies to start with and see how they go or something like that.
Right.
It's feasible to do that. There are companies that'll make 1.
Okay.
Or 20.
But would you sell 1? Somebody orders 1 and you have to make it. You do that?
Yeah.
Okay. And they would download, or they would get the notes. They would download.
Whichever way they want.
I see. Okay.
If we're going to have to actually print up notes for them, we're probably going to have to charge a couple $dollars or something.
Sure.
For that. So we're hoping hardly anybody does that.
Right.
That people would just read them online or download them if they print them out if they want.
Right.
But they'll have color or black and white photographs with them.
Is Mark excited about this? Does he feel
Yeah.
it's a feasible way to sell his records?
Yes. Yeah. He and I kind of something we had started doing just to preserve them and said someday we'll get to this point. But he's gotten quite enthusiastic about this as a way to continue to do some of the recordings that he wants to do.
Right.
Where otherwise we might, have to say, ooh, I don't know about that one.
Well, he's smart. I mean, some people who are not Mark Wilsons are wondering if there's going to be tangible records any longer.
Well, the tangibility aspect is an important one, I think. And so that's what it was one thing to just say, oh, we could just give them to iTunes and they can sell them or something. But we wanted to have a tangible option.
Right.
As part of it.
Okay. Well, I think I'm done, unless you can answer an errant question for me, which is how did you haven't been, Tex-Mex is another area where you haven't been active, so I was just personally wondering how that Mingo Saldivar record in 2002 came about.
His first album did quite well.
Okay.
Because it had a couple of regional hits on it.
Right.
And we thought maybe that could happen again, but it didn't.
Yeah, it did.
There might not be another one in 2005.
Right. Okay. Did somebody work with him on the production and the song selection or things like that, or did he just do it on his own?
Not really.
Okay.
We talked about it. I talked basically to him and his daughter.
Right. You said you did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, that's another area like Cajun and blues where I don't know.
The stuff just disappeared. You were never as strong, and there was a burst of conjunto activity you did.
Those compilations.
Right.
Finch helped us put together some great compilations.
And that was older stuff from other labels, right? Yeah.
That was terrific stuff.
Yeah, it was. It was.
And we did a few ourselves, which did okay, but none of them that never really caught on too well.
What struck me the most was Louisiana, and then I'd say secondarily Bullseye Blues. When I started looking, I said, "There's nothing here." I mean, yes, you had a new Steve Riley record. You do have that, and that's been widely reviewed. How's it selling, by the way?
Oh, which one?
Bon Rev.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right. And what was its predecessor? Happy Town. How did that? Do you know? Don't know. Okay.
That one didn't sell too well, but obviously we decided to keep on going.
Right. And Bullseye Blues, which is just down. I guess the whole blues market is down.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll probably think of 10 things, but I'm done.
Okay. Well, that's good timing.
I got a lot of time. I appreciate it. Okay. And I'm feeling in my bones. I'm getting done. Here.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. I'll probably want to talk to Ken, and I don't know if Marion. I would probably like to give Marion an opportunity to speak, except I sense that she's I have this vision of her as being very removed. Is that erroneous? Or?
Yeah, and she is.
Okay.
Like, I might see her once or twice a week.
Yeah.
She usually makes it the Wednesday meetings.
Yeah.
We share an office, but I don't see her that much.
Right. And as I say, I've always enjoyed talking to Marion, and I'd certainly want her to feel
she's gotten a little more involved in the last year compared to before.
Right.
And she just moved from one house to another, downsized to a smaller house.
I see.
I think she likes the process of renovating old houses.
Right.
Once they're fixed.
Well, yeah. I'll tell you this. I don't want to embarrass. Somebody found the listing for Marion's Newburyport house on the web and sent it to me with the subject line "pure gossip." And I didn't care. What's it do? I don't know.
I think she sold it, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I know she just moved into another place.
I don't know.
About a month ago.
Right.
But it's only like a third the size or something.
Yeah. Well, I saw the outside of her old house, but
I don't know what she did with all the junk.
with the furniture, the antiques. Yeah.
Well, they were all antiques. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like excessive quantities.
Whatever. Okay.
So hopefully she was able to sell a bunch of them somewhere. But
Right.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, go have lunch or whatever you want to do, and thanks again. Thanks a lot for
Okay.
the time. I'll be in touch. Right.
Yep.
Bye.
Great.